Doing hard things is hard. The clue's in the name, right? Running a marathon, taking an exam, learning a new skill, making videos for YouTube. No one wants to do something difficult. You could struggle or even, fail, and no one wants to fail. Unless, of course, it's glorious, spectacular failure. That's how you go viral. Look, my daughter's about to head off to university, and I asked her the other night, what would you like to get out of the whole university experience?
Well, I want to be happy and have great friends and enjoy my time there.
Oh my God. And it made me think, that response would be so common amongst her peer group that it doesn't really mean anything. Everybody wants what feels good. Everybody wants to live a carefree, happy life, great friends, to be respected and admired. That's easy to want. Now, of course, I don't want her to have a shit time. I'd love her to enjoy every second of it. But a more interesting question that most of us don't even consider is, what are you willing to struggle for? And I love this question. I've been thinking about it on and off for years. In a way, it's been guiding my decision-making for the best part of a decade, probably. I've run marathons, I've raced Ferraris around Silverstone with Hugh Grant, I've travelled back in time. No, seriously, I've gone back in time. Started a craft beer shop and then become completely teetotal. I've done a lot of things over the last 20 years. You see, what pain you're willing to fight through, to struggle through, is a hard question. But it's the question that matters. And it's the question that will change your life. You see, I believe the answer to that question is the key to determining how your life will turn out. You see, happiness requires struggle. It grows from problems. Joy doesn't just appear on your doorstep like rainbows and butterflies. Hello? Real, serious fulfillment has to be earned. You choose your struggles, you accept that difficult thing into your life and you dive into it. You engage with it, you don't avoid it. That is the answer. I'll let you into a secret. Who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for. People who enjoy learning, who can tolerate working long hours and who can survive the tedium of revision, they're the ones who do well in their exams. People who do well at sport are the ones who work to improve their skills outside of school or university, away from prying eyes where no one can see their effort. No one praises them. They're the ones you see on TV at the Olympics. People who enjoy the struggle of the gym are the ones who run triathlons and can bench press a small house. For me, I love learning new skills, but it's always a struggle, it's always hard. Sometimes I don't even know why I put myself through it. It's not about willpower or grit, this is not another cry of no pain, no gain. It's the most simple and basic component of life. Our struggles determine our successes. So a few years ago, I decided to enter a triathlon in order to try and get myself a bit fitter. I could run and bike a bit, like most people, but I could barely swim 100 meters without hanging onto the edge of the pool, gasping for breath, like Leo in Titanic. I decided to enter the European Ironman Triathlon Championship, to be held in Germany about a year after I first took up the sport. Now, an Ironman triathlon consists of a 2.5 mile swim, then a cycle of 112 miles, and after all of that, you then get to run a full marathon. It sounded like an impossible task back then, and even now, saying that out loud, it sounds impossible now. But first, I needed to be able to swim the 3.9 kilometer course in under 2 hours, 20 minutes. So that's 156 lengths. I was struggling to do 4 lengths. My first goal, and the one that kept me up at night, was how the hell could I do that? Because not only could I not swim the distance, but there's no way I was going quick enough to make that cut-off. Swimming training is really hard. It's really boring. You can't watch Netflix while you're swimming for 2 hours. But I knew that I'd never improve unless I accepted the pain and discomfort that was involved in doing that repetitive stroke after stroke, time and time again, up and down the pool, literally just looking at that black line at the bottom of the pool again and again. I kept going until my shoulders hurt so much and my legs were aching I could hardly get out of the pool. When I'd finished my training, everyone else had gone home. I was all alone, sat there panting on the edge of the pool thinking, why the hell am I doing this? The pain and boredom you experience in the early stages of learning a new skill toughens your mind, much like exercise toughens your body. Too many people believe everything should be pleasurable in life, which makes them constantly searching for distractions. This short circuits the learning process itself. You can't achieve anything in life without effort. I'm sure we can all agree on that. Trying something over and over again grounds you in reality. There is no getting away from how good you are at that particular skill. It makes you aware of your inadequacies, but it also gives you glimpses of what you could achieve with more work and more effort. You develop patience. Whenever you're learning a new skill, you will reach a point of frustration, a point where what you're trying to achieve just seems beyond your capability.
Now for me, I quickly went from being able to swim for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, even half an hour. I just couldn't get any quicker. And at this rate, I was going to miss the cut-off time. All that work, all that training, all that effort, my race to be over before it had even begun.
I even started taking lessons. I was fitter, I was stronger, I was getting slowly better at swimming. I was just too slow. God, it was frustrating. But here's the thing. People who are used to learning new skills have buried deep in their mind a sensation, a feeling, a memory of having gone through this before. In moments of doubt, these memories bubble back to the surface, and this is exactly what happened to me. Suddenly filled with trust in the process, I just kept going. I ploughed on, I did not give up, and eventually I started to get quicker.
When it comes to mastering any skill, time is the magic ingredient.
Assuming your practice proceeds at a steady pace, then certain elements of that skill gradually become hardwired. Slowly, over time, the whole skill becomes internalized, literally part of you, part of your nervous system. The mind is no longer focused on the little details, it's focused on the bigger picture. How do I get from A to B? How do I swim from here to the end of the muddy lake in Germany? I have to tell you, it's a wonderful experience, that sensation when you suddenly just get it. And it will happen. It will happen to anyone who tries it. You just have to give it time.
The only real impediment to learning anything new is your emotions.
Boredom, panic, frustration, insecurity. You can't get away from them. They are real. You will feel them all. They're experienced by anyone. They're actually part of the process. What you can do is have faith in the process. The boredom will go away and the panic just disappears. As I dragged my tired body out of that lake in Germany, I looked up at the time.
Now hold on a second, I'm about to give the ending away. There's a bit more to this story, so let's rewind. Let's go back to the start of the race. I was there standing on the edge of the lake with thousands of other people, with the countdown to the race having begun. I was nervous, I was excited, and then
The gun, the starting pistol, had just gone off and everyone was running off into the lake. The zip on my wetsuit broke, rooted to the spot. Total blind panic filled my mind. I was like, should I take it off? I mean, I don't know if you've ever put a wetsuit on, but they are unbelievably tight, so very hard to get off. So that would have taken me 5-6 minutes. I'd have to swim the whole thing without the wetsuit, which would make it harder. Or should I just get on with it and just run into the lake? Or frankly, I was even thinking, should I just quit and just call it, like, it obviously wasn't meant to be my day. Call it quits, just stop right there. I honestly couldn't decide. My mind kept flitting between these options, none of them good. And then, with my wetsuit flapping behind me, I just ran into the lake and started swimming. I was already miles behind everyone else. I could see them out in the distance. It wasn't a good start. The truth is, I still wasn't that good at swimming even at the start of the race. My heart rate subsided and I started to swim better. I actually caught some people and overtook them. And by the halfway mark, I was feeling a bit better. Quick glance at my watch pulled me back to reality though. At halfway, I was right on the cut line. It had taken me half the allotted time to get to halfway. I wasn't that confident right then. I'd also been swimming for over an hour. So if I didn't swim the second half quicker than the first, I'd be out. My race was over. The problem is, I'd already been swimming for over an hour and I was knackered. Oh God. So the struggle now was real. I had to dig deep and really go for it. Otherwise, I'd be walking out of that lake all alone, knowing that I'd failed. And because the race was in the middle of Germany, my family hadn't come with me. They were back in England. So I'd literally be on my own, knowing that everyone else I'd met at the start line and who was going through the race, they'd all be out racing for another 10, 11, 12 hours. So I'd literally be on my own.
And the thought of all of those hours training being a total waste of time really pushed me on. I'd spent a long time away from my family trying to get ready for this race. So even though every stroke was painful, the burning in my shoulders was almost too much to bear. You know, my technique got worse and worse. I was expending so much energy, forcing my body forwards towards the finish line, towards the shore that I could see in the distance. You know, the thought did cross my mind that even if I made the cut-off time, I had about 10 hours of exercise ahead of me. And this swim, even if I made the time, it might be the end of my race anyway, because you're right on the edge of your endurance limits in these races. And if I just burnt too much in that swim, I might as well have stopped there and then.
And as I dragged my tired body out of that lake in Germany, I looked up at the timing banner that was at the edge of the lake, and you run under to record your swim time. 2 hours, 10 minutes. I'd done it. Just. And you know what? I was absolutely exhausted, but tired as I was, I couldn't help but smile as I ran across that line. Now, my reward was another 6 hours of cycling, running a marathon, 10 hours of exercise ahead of me, and I was exhausted, but I'd done it. I had achieved my goal. It didn't really matter what happened after that. You see, hard things are hard, and most people will avoid them at all costs. But if you want to achieve your goals, if you don't want to be like most people, then you will embrace that struggle. And if you think that at any point in your life you'll stop this learning process, then I'm afraid you're missing the point. The joy is in the process itself.
And look, for those of you who've stuck around to the end and actually want to know what happened in the race, that's not really the point of this story. But if you are interested, I did manage to finish. The bike took me about 6 hours. The marathon took me about 4 hours. I ended up with a final time of 11 hours and 50 minutes, which was fantastic. I was hoping beyond hope I'd get under 12 hours, and I did it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.